Hey guys, I'm Kimberly from Fact Quarter Shop, and you won't believe how quick and cute this quilt is today. It's gonna make you flip, so let's get started. It's been a while since we featured charm packs in our Shortcut Quilt series, but this one is a keeper and it's great for quick gifts. It's called Charm Pack Cartwheel, and it's gonna make a simple star block that's gonna look really neat and give a swirling effect, and it's gonna alternate with a snowball block. We're using the Shine Collection by Sweetwater for our version, and there are two size options. We have a lap and a twin, and we think the lap is a great size for a baby shower or a nursery quilt. And let's talk about what you need. You're gonna need for the lap 2 charm packs. You're gonna need a background. You're gonna need a setting fabric, a binding fabric, and a backing fabric. And you'll see that we did binding and backing both white, but this is mainly what we will be using today. And I wanted to talk about these two fabrics the most. So when you're picking your fabrics, your charm packs, you can use any charm pack, but I would recommend when you pick your background fabric for it to be very plain and nothing going on with it, so it does not fight with your charm pack. Especially this collection has a lot of lights, so if you have a busyness going in your background, it's gonna ruin the quilt. And then for your accent fabric, you're using this for your snowball blocks and your border, and you want it to be not too busy and a light print, not too bold, not too crazy, so that it blends in really nice and that your charm packs, you can really see those stars in your quilt. Now that we picked our fabrics, let's get sewing. Let's talk about cutting our charm pack. All of our charm pack squares are cut exactly the same, and we have a cutting diagram here. Now I wanted to show you, I starched this charm pack and it did not shrink, which is very rare. Usually it shrinks. I noticed this charm pack is slightly bigger than actually 5 inches. What I would do is starch your charm pack, and when you starch it, usually it's gonna shrink about 1/4 inch this way, and the other side is not gonna shrink. So you're gonna take your side that has the least shrinkage and put that this way. And I'm just gonna pretend that this really did shrink, even though it didn't. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut 2 1/4 this way, and you're only gonna cut 4 inches this way. So you wanna put your skinny side at the top because you have less to cut from. And what I would do is I would kind of, if you're gonna starch your fabric, cut 1 square, get it down, and then keep going. So your first rectangle is gonna be 2 1/4 by 4. So I'm just gonna put this ruler on, and I've got 2 1/4 here by 4. And I'm using the Perfect 5 ruler. It's great to use with charm packs. So I'll just cut 2 sides there. Now, because it is a gingham fabric, I am being careful that my lines are not too crooked. So this is gonna be your fabric A rectangle. For your fabric B square, you're gonna do 2 1/4. This will not be used in the quilt, so you could save that for your scrap bin. And then this is gonna be your fabric B. So you can see from your charm pack, you have plenty of fabric if you want to starch, but you obviously don't have to starch. So now that we've cut everything, we're going to move into making the block, and the first block is going to be our cartwheel block. So make sure you've downloaded the free pattern at Fact Quarter Shop, and we're going to start on page 1, and we're going to take a background rectangle just like this, and we're going to take a fabric B square, which is from your charm pack. And this is meant to be completely scrappy, so you don't plan your fabric placement at all. I'm using a new friction marker. It's called Friction Fine Line Marker, and one of my employees, Elva, told me about it, and I love it. So I started using this instead of the pin. And then you can pin this in place. I like to pin twice because it gives stability. Stitch directly on that line. Now this pattern, it is very important for you to press according to the pattern. So your first step is a background rectangle and a print square. The next is a little bit different. It is a print rectangle and a background square. So fabric A, fabric D, draw a line on the wrong side, and you're gonna go to the other side. This one was on the right, now you're gonna go on the left. You're gonna pin here, stitch directly on the line, trim 1/4 inch away, and you'll have this. Now these two you're gonna sew together, and so you can see this is forming your star right here. So here's your unit, and I'm going to show you all of the units that we've made. And you can see there's a background that's more prominent and a print that's more prominent. And here, it's going to be all about your fabric placement. So you're going to be rotating, and you definitely have to double check. But now you can see the star that has formed. And I kind of just do this to make sure I have everything where it looks good. Now here, you're going to put these right sides together, stitch on the line, press, and then do the same. But I'm going to show you a trick. Right here, you want this 1/4 inch right here to match with this 1/4 inch right here. So with the friction pin, I've drawn those 1/4 inch lines. If you do it on the back, it actually will be easier. So when you do that, if you put those together, right sides together, pin on each side, then you can do poke a pin. And that's where you poke your pin in the 1/4 inch seam here and here. And stitch. And if you do that on all your seams, your block is going to look really good. So you would do that on this seam and this seam and these seams. Now, if you don't want to press according to the pattern, you could press open, but I would still use that same 1/4 inch marking technique. So this is your cartwheel block. This is the harder of the blocks, but look how cute it is. It looks so cute, and it really would look nice in a baby nursery, and it would even look cute as a quilt block in a baby nursery. I love it so much. Now we're gonna go to another block, which is much easier. This is where you're gonna take your accent fabric, and you've got a big square. It's 7.5 inches. So now you're gonna take fabric E background squares and draw a line from corner to corner. Use any type of marking pin you like. I like to use friction because it disappears with heat. You can use any type of marking pin that you like. Place your fabrics on 2 opposing corners, and I'm actually going to do all 4 at one time. I really like to pin these down or use glue. If you're going to use seam-aligned glue, what I would do is put 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, and put that down. Then you're going to stitch directly on those lines. Now here it is really important to stitch directly on that line. If you go too far this way, your triangle is going to be short. If you go too far this way, you're going to have too much white. So just try to be careful stitching those. Then press according to the pattern, and then you're going to make this block. And so let me show you the 2 blocks, how they look together. Very different, but they look really nice. Now I do want to point out, you can use that same 1/4 inch technique I just showed you with poke a pin for when you're putting these blocks together in your quilt. So now you can see what we've done is we've alternated our cartwheel block. On some rows it's 3 across, and some rows it's 2 across. And then we have our setting block, and the same thing, it's just rotated. And when you're looking at this, the way that it's designed is because of this corner square right here, it's creating a star that just joins and just keeps going. It's so beautiful. And on this one, I did want to point out our border is the same as our accent. You could do a different border if you wanted, and we did a light binding just so that would kind of tie to the lightness here. And we have a really fun backing that I know would look so good. Even if you just put it on a crib, this would just look like a quilt all on its own. Let me know what you think of the Charm Pack Cartwheel quilts. I love it because I like the simplicity of this block and the little bit complexity of this block, and choosing the right fabrics is going to give you a beautiful quilt. I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.